So I think it's kind of a common misconception that it's really easy to sleep in a tent. There's some things that actually can make it really challenging. One of the biggest things is moisture control. Moisture is almost always a problem in a tent. A couple key things that you want to try to do is make sure that you really peg out your fly. I'll show you what I mean by that. One of the things that you can do, you should have some loops on the bottom of the fly here, and you want to make sure that you peg that out and really stretch out the fly. That way air can kind of circulate in here. And then coming on over to the other side, I've done the same thing over here. Now, one of the other things you might have here is a vent, and so it's a good idea to open that up so that this tent will again circulate air. And then the last thing you want to do is check to make sure that you've pulled the fly all the way down. You don't want any of the tent kind of peeking out the bottom there. So I'm going to pull this down nice and tight, and then that way no rain's going to get in. One thing that I have noticed with newer tents is that they're making the flies a little bit shorter these days. And so when you do shop for a tent, make sure that you have a fly that comes all the way down to the very bottom and ideally has a loop right here. I've noticed a lot of newer tents are sacrificing this loop and having this loop only, which in my opinion, this just isn't enough. This is more of a loop that I would use to prevent my tent from flying away. This is the one that I'm going to use to make sure that there's good ventilation in my tent. So that's it. Take your time setting it up, make sure that you do it right, and adjust if you need to on the fly. If you don't have good dirt to peg into, then what you can use is rocks instead. You can use branches, trees that are around you. Think outside the box, get creative, but whatever you do, make sure that you always peg out that tent properly.